The Witcher Blood Origin has been going terribly for Netflix since its announcement. Trailers have gotten ratioed, people have threatened to boycott it over all of the Henry Cavill news that's released, and it did launch today, and audiences have already tanked the score to one of the worst of the year because it is now sitting at a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. I have a bunch of things to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and to the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And of course, if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month, or support the channel via YouTube memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. Now, as you can see, the current audience and critic scores are pretty similar. The critics have definitely rated it a bit higher at a 35%, but that's still really bad. But the audience score is abysmal at a 13%. And last week, when the critic scores came out, I said that while there is, of course, a chance that audiences will love the show, I didn't think that it was going to happen. And I said that I thought the audience scores would be lower because this show has faced a lot of controversy. Of course, the Henry Cavill situations that have happened, people have threatened to boycott the show over it, and we knew that, of course, this was a different time period, and I just didn't think that it was going to stick with all of the information that we heard early, and also the trailers that we saw looked terrible. The sets looked really cheap and poorly made. The costumes didn't look great. Overall, the show looked disappointing before it even released. And as we can see now, it is just going terribly for them. So clicking on the 13% audience score, I wanted to read some of these reviews. Now, I personally haven't watched all of it yet. There's a couple of hours worth of content, and there was no way I was going to binge it on Christmas. But I do plan to watch it over the next day or two since I'm here on YouTube and I'm talking about it, so I want my own fully formed opinions of the content, but it is not good so far. Leading up to the launch, I have felt zero hype for it, but it is as awful as you would have expected. One of the lead females starts as a waitress who has to deal with handsy men, and luckily she's a strong woman so she doesn't need any help fighting them off, but you can tell it's supposed to be a statement. And of course, I always say this, I do not dislike people of color in entertainment. I am all for diversity and inclusivity when it's not done just so that companies can say, look at us, we're inclusive too. But Andre never wrote darker-skinned elves into his work, but this character, of course, is. So, lore breaking right there. But Michelle Yeoh was clearly supposed to be the reason for people to watch this show, and she definitely cannot lead it herself because her character's battle cry is strap your tits. I didn't expect the show to be that cringe, but it definitely is. Clearly, this is supposed to have a lot of humor for adults, but it's not The Witcher, and that's the problem. It's like a Witcher parody, which is just done so poorly. The dialogue is awful, the sets are bad. Honestly, this might be one of the worst TV shows of the year for me, and people clearly agree with my opinions. Again, I haven't seen it all yet, but the bit that I have seen is just terrible. So as you can see, there are a lot of half stars, 1 stars, and 2-star reviews here. There are a handful of 5s that I've seen that are clearly trying to counter the negative ones, but they're giving it 5 stars and saying things like very good spin-off. They don't say why they like it, what's good about it. They just seem like very fake reviews that are trying to counteract the negative ones. But people are saying things like, was this supposed to be Witcher related? If so, they deviated heavily against established lore, and we already figured that they were going to, and unfortunately, it's just very bad. Didn't even deserve a single star. I hope that they would stick to the books and games. Adding stuff is cool and all, but tossing away the source material is not. And this is something that I have talked about a lot when covering this show, is that they don't have a single book that they're working off of. They don't have a ton of backstory and lore and source material to go off of, just information that we get throughout the main series, which, if these people actually cared about the books and the games and they actually respected the source material, I'm sure they could have come up with something good for this show. But we've heard behind the scenes that they have actively disliked the source material and have tried to make something that is different with the at least original or mothership show. So I didn't expect this to be good. I didn't expect them to go into this and try to make it as source material accurate as possible. But it seems like it's far worse than we ever expected it to be. I give it 1 star instead of half a star because the show had a few good moments and Bear McCreary always delivers. Other than that, it was a dreadful experience as a Witcher fan. Terrible and rushed story that simultaneously manages to be boring, underdeveloped characters, annoying narration, and completely wasted cast that could do good with good scripts. If you're a Witcher fan, do not watch this. Blatant cash grab and remove The Witcher from the title. This is a random Dungeons and Dragons session. Anyway, I don't care. This is just terrible. This is The Witcher in name only. People are saying things like, I'm putting this into my top 5 worst shows ever produced. It is so sad that Netflix cannot do good with The Witcher. They have a lot of money to throw at projects, and unfortunately, they have just made so many wrong moves. I do think they need to clear out the creative teams and restart with new people. I unfortunately for them don't know if it's going to bring older fans of the show back, because of course those people are upset about the Henry Cavill situation, but honestly, it's gotta be better than the garbage they're producing at this point. They are ruining the Witcher name. They are damaging it. I always say this: if you want to experience real Witcher, read the novels, play the games. They are amazing, and that is the content that you should be consuming, not this garbage. But again, we had a feeling this show was going to do pretty terribly. All of the trailers got absolutely annihilated online, as you can see. 3 weeks ago, 1.5 million views for the official trailer, and well, it is currently sitting at 27,000 likes to 183,000 dislikes, and all of the promotional material they've posted on Twitter or Instagram, just social media in general, has gotten roasted. But this show seems to be going in a terrible direction, and people honestly hate it even more than I expected. I figured it was going to be low. I didn't think it was going to be a 13 though. I thought maybe like a 20 to a 25. But this is just a massively bad situation for Netflix. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed it and found it important and informative, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.